Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing to Sleepy Hollow, Season 1, Episode 7, I believe? Yeah, Episode 7, The Midnight Ride. This episode, in my opinion, was perfect. I thought there was some really great stuff in this episode. I really like what they were doing in this show, and I think that this episode was by far the best episode they've done. I just thought it was a really great episode, and also we have a really big cliffhanger now, so I really want to talk about it. My only disappointment with this episode was that they advertised it as in this episode they were going to find the witch, but it turns out that that's not the case, that they did not find the witch in this episode. That's for next week's episode, but it looked like in this episode that was going to be a main plot, but it wasn't. Basically, last week's episode we saw that Ichabod and Abbie and their new ally, Captain Irving, the horseman isn't playing around basically because he hasn't had his head for the past few weeks, and basically the heroes are ready for him, and they take thanks to a tip from an undead friend, and basically Abbie and Ichabod, they fortify Corbin's cabin with supplies and better locks. He goes to meet his mason, breathe in for some intel on how to stop the Headless Horseman. She heads back to the precinct where Luke good naturally pesters her into agreeing to have coffee with him because he wants them to be friends. She grudgingly agrees, but warns him to temper expectations, please. And someone is watching him from afar, and we later find out that it's Moloch minion Andy Brooks when he has Luke alone in a sketchy alley. And he claims that he can protect Abbie from the end, and that a war is coming. Everyone is going to have to take sides, and when Brooke disappears, and after a long time after, Luke is understandably spooked, basically. This was really cool, the way this all worked out. I love that this Monster of the Week thing is done. That's one of the things I love. One of the, really funny scenes in this episode is, well, not really funny, but one of the highlights of the episode is Ichabod's voicemail to Abbie, which he not so much leaves as he recites the lines on her phone. He summons her to the Mason Mansion because he's realized that it's total hogwash, that women can't be privy to the organization's meetings. He signs off, "I am most respectfully Ichabod Crane," but Headless has beat both of them there, which means the Masons, who had secret information about how to best the beast, are now dead. We see Ichabod get truly angry for the first time since he woke up from his dirt nap. He vows, "I will not leave this earth with the horsemen still in it." And I really like seeing that he actually did get angry. I really like seeing that because I didn't really expect that to happen, but I definitely really enjoyed that, and that wasn't really something I expected, but it was a really cool thing that happened there. Ichabod eventually realizes that Headless Horseman is searching for his missing noggin, so Captain Irving goes to retrieve it from the lab where Joey Lawrence-looking tech can't figure out exactly what the skull is made of. Not to worry, lab tech, all of your So that's basically what's going on here, is that now the Headless Horseman is back, what he's really looking for is his head. That's what he's looking for, because, I mean, essentially, he wants to have a head. He wants to be able to see what he's doing. He wants to be able to see his victims, and he's just pissed off. So he wants a head and everything. So that's what the Headless Horseman is there for. After this, we get probably one of the coolest scenes of the episode, which was the little history stuff that we got in this episode. I really like how they connected history to the storyline. I thought that was definitely an interesting thing that they did, and I thought that was just really cool. So, Ichabod is surprised to learn that Abbie is familiar with Paul Revere's Midnight Ride. As it turns out, Crane was guarding a safe house containing several revolutionary boldface names on the same evening of the historic event. And from that vantage point, he watched Revere receive a mystical manuscript that he carried on his ride. When then the Headless-headed horseman caught up to Revere's party, as we see in flashback, he killed 3 men in his pursuit of the crucial pages. The secret to stopping off No-Neck, Ichabod deduces, must be contained in these pages. So Abbie and Ichabod travel to a nearby colonial museum, just long enough for Ichabod to school a tour guide who's spreading more myth than fact. This was really cool. I really like this scene where he's just like schooling this person. And Abbie eventually pulls her pals away, notifying him that the manuscript is on loan in London. A 3-month journey by sea, Ichabod quickly calculates, but they're in luck, it's also available online. This was really cool to see. I really like the scene where it was just schooling that one person, because all that person was saying what they thought happened and everything, we don't necessarily know that's what happened, though. There's been in stories and everything that the whole British are coming thing is kind of not true, because it's been reported that Paul Revere and some of those men were supposedly British. So, total hogwash. It really is. As Ichabod said, total hogwash. Then we get Ichabod, he's banging on a laptop and does a really good impression of, and basically that's what's going on. And when all the tech hijinks are done, Ichabod figures out but both the manuscript is in code and that Revere, that cheeky silverman, engraved the key in silver on the back of the horseman's front teeth. Another run-in with Brooks informs our duo that you can't kill Death, but you can trap him. So, having sent the decaying deputy back to the horseman with a message from me after dark, Abbie, Crane, and Irving go about laying, it said Mills, so I thought it said Miles. No. Abbie, Crane, and Irving go about laying their trap moments after before the sun goes down. Ichabod thinks it's a really good time for a therapy session with the lieutenant. They bond about their Witness Lonely Hearts Club. She says it would never work with Luke because she can't tell him the truth about her life. And Ichabod responds to the sacrifice that they might mean that we all get ready, that all we really get is one another. And that's, you might want to get to the graveyard for the showdown. So their plan was basically to trap the Headless Horseman and everything. And we also find out they need a witch in order to stop this whole thing. I mean, we do have the soul here, but in order to stop the Headless Horseman, they need a witch, and that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to find a witch, and, but their plan actually goes really well, because Crane and, Abbie went into it using several decoy heads. They lure Headless into a chamber in the tunnels. They switch on huge UV lights that simulate sunlight and freeze him in place, and Abbie kicks, the Hessian's giant blade out of the way, and Ichabod shackles him as Irving watches. There's no way trapping Death is that easy. And that's how it ended. They now have trapped the Headless Horseman, and that's what happened. They've trapped Headless Horseman, and they've also, now that they've trapped the Headless Horseman, what they've also done is that they have, we also know that they need this witch, and they're gonna have to find a witch, and they're probably going to interrogate the Headless Horseman and ask him questions. But the thing is, how are you going to interrogate a guy who can't speak? It's really, I don't know how that's going to work, but whatever. But I will say that this episode was fantastic. I thought that twist at the end is really big, because now they have the Headless Horseman. What is going to happen here? I mean, there's definitely an all-out war coming, definitely, I think just from that scene alone, we see torture coming up. And, I mean, the Headless Horseman really, at this point, cannot hurt them now because he's burned. So I don't think he can hurt them. I mean, not burned, but he's frozen. So I don't think he can hurt them, but we'll have to see. Definitely, though, this episode was definitely very interesting. What did you guys think of this episode? Did you like the history connection? I love the history connection. I love what they're doing there. Now that they have the Headless Horseman, what exactly is going to happen to him? Do you think the Headless Horseman will find his head? And also, do you think they'll find this witch to separate Ichabod and, Crane and the Horsemen? Do you think they'll be able to do that? But let me know what else you guys saw this episode, and I will see you guys in the next video, which, be prepared, is a rant video. So see you then. Bye.